highlights in today's show. Magic carpets. Jan Kaths mixes modern designs and traditional weaving techniques. Aerial perspective. Photographer Achim Mende gets a bird's eye view of Germany. Southern styles. Turkish-German designer Isit Bostan is in demand. Euromaxx highlights. And here's your host, Robin Merrill.
And a very warm welcome to the show. Nana Mouskouri is one of the most successful recording artists of all time, having sold over 250 million records when she retired from singing last year. Her unique voice, which has a very pure timbre, is due to the fact that one of her vocal cords is thicker than the other. Recently, she was here in Berlin promoting the German version of her autobiography.
Guten Morgen, guten Morgen, guten Morgen, Sonnenschein.
Nana Mouskouri's book is open and honest, also about the less positive sides of her life. She wanted to understand where she'd come from and how she became a star.
Guten Morgen, Sonnenschein, weck mich auf und komm herein. Die Sicherheit, das Publikum hat mir gegeben, die Bühne hat mir gegeben alle diese Jahre.
I've drawn confidence from my audiences and from performing on stage all these years. I drew a lot of strength from that. And when I decided to leave the stage and give my farewell tour after 50 years, I thought, the public has given me so much that it has a right to know my secrets, to find out about my life.
That began in Athens in the 1930s. Her father was a notorious gambler and a projectionist in a small open-air cinema. As a young girl, she climbed onto the stage after the screening and, under the cover of darkness, sang songs from the films and dreamed.
When I started to sing there, I felt very happy. Everything else was far away, and I was alone in the night. I felt as if I was floating on a cloud. I dreamed I was a bird and that I could fly.
Mouskouri started appearing in the jazz clubs of Athens and sang on the radio. She missed out on a place in the Greek Conservatorium as a result, but at the beginning of the 1960s she got a chance to perform alongside Harry Belafonte. A few years ago, Nana Mouskouri went back to her roots, returning to the places where she started out, the smoky bars of the Greek capital.
I was so happy to have the chance to sing. I sang all sorts of songs, and the audiences were happy. The musicians were happy. Even today, I think that was one of the best ways for me to learn to sing.
The first song she sang in German became a huge hit. Now, after 50 years on the stage, she's finally bowed out of show business. Her last world tour culminated in August in Athens with a fabulous concert at the foot of the Acropolis.
It was a way for me to say thank you to all the people who wrote songs for me and who helped me in my musical career. That was very important to me. I was never alone. I had friends everywhere.
The singer is now learning to live out of the limelight. It's given her more time for her work as a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador.
I'm delighted to help where I can. Today, I can give back all the love I received. I want to give that love to young people.
And now she's given her millions of fans the story of her life.
Jan Kaths creates oriental carpets with a difference. In fact, they really are works of art, and you're more likely to find them hanging on walls rather than lying on the floor. His family have been selling carpets for 3 generations, but after visiting Kathmandu as a young man, Jan Kaths came home and set about changing the direction of the business. He wanted to rediscover the ancient craft of hand-woven carpets, mixing traditional with modern designs.
A few clicks of the mouse can take you on a tour of Jan Kaths' virtual gallery. Its walls don't show paintings, but rugs. 7 collections, each with different materials, a different character and a different design. Some have won prizes.
Here we are in a huge hall displaying the collection Gamba. It's been a very successful collection in recent years. This one was the award winner 3 years ago.
The 36-year-old grew up in Bochum, an old coal mining town. When he turned 18, he set off to travel through Asia, India, Nepal and Mongolia. In Nepal, he took over a carpet factory where he soon developed his own style, marrying traditional weaving with modern design. The top quality products sell for between 400 and 1,200 euros a square metre.
You have to bear in mind that on an average-sized carpet, up to 10 people work 10 hours a day for more than 3 months. So it's very labor-intensive. When we raise these carpets to the gallery or museum level, we are merely underscoring that. By trying to develop quality contemporary design, we are giving the people on site the chance to continue this tradition.
An old factory in Bochum serves as showroom, office and creative hub. This is where Jan Kaths and Dino Feldman develop new carpet patterns, taking their customers' colour and size wishes into account. One of the collections is called Maroc Blanc, White Morocco. They've taken the old Berber traditional carpet from Morocco and used it as a modern design object. Most of the carpets are made in Nepal using traditional Tibetan techniques. More than 1,200 people work for Jan Kaths. His products bear the fair trade label STEP. This signifies that they are produced under fair social and ecological conditions with no child labour. That's not true of all carpet manufacturers.
Not only in Nepal, also in India, Pakistan and Bangladesh. I have to say, this is still an issue. The cheaper the end product in our field, and in this context I use the word cheap intentionally, the more probable it is that it was produced under very bad or very questionable conditions, even today.
All Kaths rugs are sent to the village of Speicher in Switzerland. The Knecht company is specialised in finishing fine carpets. It is unique in Europe. Each of the precious carpets is individually singed, delicately washed, impregnated and steam stretched. This elaborate processing is only worth the effort if the material itself is top quality. Hemp, Tibetan highland wool, wild silk. Handmade luxury courtesy of Jan Kaths.
Since the day he was born, Prince Charles has been preparing to become the British king. But he's had a long wait, as he's just turned 60 and he's still a prince. Recently, of course, there's been a lot of media speculation about whether he will ever succeed to the throne. A look back now at a man who's had to live his entire life in the public eye with the editor-in-chief of Majesty magazine, Ingrid Seward.
Prince Charles turned 60 on November the 14th. He was prepared for the role of monarch from an early age, but is still waiting to become king. In 1981, Prince Charles announced his engagement to Lady Diana Spencer, then just 19. The subsequent wedding was a fairy tale affair watched by millions around the globe. But the marriage soon became strained and wasn't helped by media pressure. Joint public appearances became increasingly rare. Their divorce was finalized in 1996.
I think Prince Charles did believe in the marriage. I think he loved Diana. I mean, Diana told me that he loved her very much. But the kind of love that he gave her wasn't right for her.
A further factor was undoubtedly Camilla Parker Bowles. The two had always had a lot in common, and Charles could never forget her, not even after his marriage to Diana. After Diana died, it took several years before Charles felt confident about appearing with Camilla in public. In 2005, the two finally married, 35 years after they first met.
Prince Charles is far more relaxed since his marriage to Camilla. Camilla doesn't try and outshine him or outdo him. She's just there to support him. And that's what she feels her role is. And indeed, that's what she does. She takes a back seat and lets him do everything. And she is just there as a supportive wife.
Prince Charles takes a keen interest in nature conservation. Back in the 1980s, he was already campaigning for greener farming and set up his own organic foods brand. He's also a big champion of the rainforests.
He was always a greenie. I remember Diana telling me that she couldn't use hairspray because Prince Charles said it made holes in the ozone layer, and that was years and years ago. He's been a greenie since he was a teenager.
Speculation is mounting over whether Queen Elizabeth's crown will actually pass to the Green Prince. There seems to be growing public support for the idea of Prince William bypassing his father in the line to the throne.
He wants to be king because that's what he's been groomed to be all his life. Since he was a tiny baby, he was the heir apparent. So I don't think there's any chance that he will give it up.
Charles has remained tight-lipped on the issue of succession, although he apparently has said that on becoming king, he would prefer to use one of his middle names and be called King George VII. And whether he'll still be called Prince Charles on his 70th birthday remains to be seen.
Achim Mende is a professional photographer who specialises in bird's-eye view photography. Indeed, he's always had a fascination with how the world looks from above. This came about after he paraglided across the English Channel 20 years ago, and in doing so got himself into the Guinness Book of World Records. Nowadays, he stays firmly on the ground, but with the aid of his state-of-the-art technology, his camera can take pictures from angles that are normally unreachable.
The state of Baden-Württemberg in southwestern Germany, as seldom seen before. It's the work of photographer Achim Mende. Mende has a very unusual way of capturing shots. He makes his camera fly, using a helium balloon. It costs about €800 to inflate it for each flight.
It's fantastic because you can get to within meters of things you can't usually get close to. You can come within 2 meters of a church tower without disturbing anyone. You can't do that in planes or helicopters because they're too fast, too high, or they make too much noise or just cost too much. You can get right up close to the state's treasures.
Achim Mende can view the images from his camera via the video screens in his glasses. He can change the settings and release the shutter by remote control. He's been traveling the region for months.
I have learned to see things differently on this voyage of discovery. and it's incredible to see what was created in the past. It's changed my understanding of the state's culture and of its castles and palaces. It's really exciting.
The photographer clocks up some 120,000 kilometers a year, traveling the length and breadth of the country, always on the lookout for the most captivating images.
I've been to Africa, the Arctic, Australia, but if you open your eyes, there are an unbelievable number of opportunities right on our own doorstep. Castles, palaces, parks, it's sensational.
Mende also documents the modern side of Baden-Württemberg. He's especially fond of architectural photography. In Stuttgart, the state's capital, the Mercedes-Benz Museum catches his eye. Instead of a helium balloon, he uses the latest addition to his technical inventory for his loftier shots, a 30-meter-high telescopic stand. Achim Mende is the only photographer in Germany using this kind of equipment.
This is world-class architecture. Of course, you can photograph it during the day, but if you have the right equipment, then you can also photograph the illuminated building at night or at twilight. That leads to some truly spectacular images that send the pulse of photographers like me racing.
Mende spends 200 days a year on the road taking photographs. Sometimes he waits for days or nights on end for the right light or ideal weather conditions for the perfect picture.
He does take some stunning photos. Turkish-German designer Isit Bostan has had a strong fashion sense since she was a small girl and, against her parents' wishes, took up an apprenticeship with a fashion designer immediately after leaving school. In her adopted home of Munich and far beyond, she's now well known for the stylish and elegant clothes she designs. She's also designed for the theatre and for film and is now branching out again with a new set of bags for the company Brie.
Simple designs with no flourishes or adornments. The clear lines and tailored forms are minimalist and elegant. Fashion made by Isit Bostan. The designer has worked from this small studio in Munich for 10 years now. It's a tiny space, but she has a large client base. A customer in Los Angeles has just ordered a wedding dress.
I started designing clothes because I simply couldn't find anything I liked. I didn't want to buy my clothes in discount stores and look like everyone else. So I began designing my own clothes.
Born in Turkey, Isit came to Germany at the age of 4. She later settled in Munich, where she apprenticed as a seamstress, studied at the fashion college, and made a name for herself in fashion. One of her regular customers is the internationally renowned fashion designer Konstantin Gürtschik. The art periodical Kunst magazine just named him the greatest living designer. Isit likes to talk shop with him.
I'm good friends with Isit, and I greatly admire her work. I know it well and fit well into what she does. I like to wear what she makes. I guess it's because my views on clothing, as well as on life and lifestyle, are similar to hers.
The famous furniture designer is happy to model Isit's designs. And those include the I Love shirt, her best-known design.
Every piece I make is a new favorite project, because I think it's fascinating to have the luxury to be able to think about things, and also because I only make things that I like. And that's why everything I do is a great luxury for me.
Her latest commission also has a luxury aspect. She's created her own line for the traditional German handbag company, Bray. It's a great honor for Isit Bostan because Bray is very exclusive. Not many designers are asked to work for the company. Isit is already working on ideas for her second handbag collection for Bray.
We have a real leather fetish here. We love the material. It's always a challenge. It has such lovely qualities that you can work with. And we always try to find interesting ways of using it. At my first or second meeting with Isit Bostan, I realized that she has the same taste. She reached straight away for the most expensive and best materials. We saw eye to eye right from the start.
The Isit line of handbags is due to appear on the shelves in December. The most expensive design will cost €1,300. So, who will buy these Bray bags?
Modern, clever, intelligent, beautiful women.
And so it's fitting that the designer likes to carry one of her own bags. Isit Bostan, the fashion designer from Munich, who has big plans for her minimalist style.
And just a reminder before I go that if you'd like to see any of those reports again, just go to YouTube and type in Euromaxx Highlights English. You'll find them there. Bye-bye.